On August 28, 2023, at the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill campus, located in Orange County, North Carolina, USA, the campus was bustling with activity as the new academic year began. However, the festive atmosphere was shattered by an unexpected event. At 1:02 p.m., during class hours, multiple gunshots suddenly rang out from room 159 of the Caudle Laboratories, across from the university's iconic bell tower. Associate Professor of Physics Zijie Yan was shot 7 times and died at the scene. As the gunfire erupted, the crowd panicked and screamed, while the shooter quickly fled the scene amidst the chaos. The university immediately sent text and email alerts to everyone, warning that an armed and dangerous individual was on campus. People were instructed to shelter in place and stay away from windows. Students followed the instructions, hiding in rooms while some panicked and jumped out of windows to escape. A witness called the police and provided a lead, identifying the shooter as a student at the university. Police responded promptly, arriving on the scene and securing the area. The university's official accounts continuously updated the situation, reminding everyone to stay indoors until the lockdown was lifted. Law enforcement began a thorough search of the entire campus. At the crime scene, Zijie Yan lay lifeless in a pool of blood, a horrific sight. By 2:30 p.m., the campus police released an image of the suspect, warning everyone to maintain distance if they encountered him and to contact authorities immediately. Many faculty members and students recognized the suspect as Tailei Qi, a 34-year-old Chinese international student in his second year of a PhD program. He was a research assistant in the Department of Applied Physics. The victim, Zijie Yan, was his PhD advisor. The whereabouts of the suspect remained unknown. Over 50 police vehicles with sirens blaring rushed onto campus, helicopters hovered overhead, and the FBI joined the search and investigation. At 2:21 p.m., local police received a call from a resident who reported seeing the suspect near their home. Within 10 minutes of receiving the tip, police apprehended Tailei Qi about 2 miles from campus as he was heading toward his apartment. During questioning, Tailei Qi denied involvement in the incident, claiming he had left campus after receiving the university's shooting alert. He also denied any conflict with the victim, Zijie Yan, and claimed not to own a firearm. Police did not find any weapons on him. Tailei Qi was handcuffed and taken into custody for further investigation. Meanwhile, after 3 hours of thoroughly searching the campus, police confirmed that there was no longer any threat. At 4:14 p.m., the university officially announced that the lockdown had been lifted. Despite this, unease lingered, and the campus remained under the shadow of the tragic shooting for a long time. The next day, the university and law enforcement held a press conference to explain the incident and express their condolences for the loss of Professor Zijie Yan. 2 days after the tragedy, at 1:02 p.m., the University of North Carolina held a memorial ceremony for Professor Yan. In the evening, faculty and students participated in a candlelight vigil organized by the university. Meanwhile, the investigation into Tailei Qi continued. As an international student on a study visa, he was not legally allowed to own a firearm. So, where did the gun come from? Police discovered login credentials for 2 different gun forums on his computer and tracked down a user who had communicated with Tailei Qi. This individual told authorities that, a few days before the incident, he had sold a Glock 43X to an Asian man. When shown a photo, he identified Tailei Qi as the buyer. On the second day following the shooting, an employee at a shooting range in Wake County, near Chapel Hill, proactively contacted the police. They reported that Tailei Qi had visited the range twice, on August 17th and the day before the shooting, August 27th. He had used a 9mm firearm for target practice and purchased 2 boxes of 9mm ammunition. Since the range required emergency contact information for its services, Tailei Qi had listed the victim, Zijie Yan, as his emergency contact. Police found that the ammunition Tailei Qi purchased matched the casings recovered at the crime scene. The firearm he used at the range also matched the type of gun he had illegally purchased online. It was evident that he had meticulously planned the premeditated murder. News of the shooting quickly spread on social media, revealing details about Tailei Qi and Zijie Yan. Many speculated that the incident stemmed from a dispute between a student and his advisor, assuming the suspect had lost control after feeling oppressed or exploited by his Chinese professor. While such issues do exist in academia, with similar documented cases, this particular situation did not align with that narrative. Zijie Yan, who had taught in the United States for many years, was a self-made academic who overcame socioeconomic barriers. Born in 1985 to a rural family in Jingmen City, China, he stood out academically from a young age, which enabled him to transition from a rural village to urban opportunities. After 1998, he attended Jingmen's top middle and high schools, consistently ranking at the top of his class. With unwavering support and high expectations from his teachers, he gained admission to one of Wuhan's leading universities, Huazhong University of Science and Technology. In 2005, through hard work and discipline, Zijie Yan earned dual bachelor's degrees in computer science and materials engineering. After graduation, he pursued a master's degree in electronic physics at the same university. In 2008, he moved to the United States to further his studies. Combining talent with relentless effort, he rapidly advanced in his academic career. By 2011, he had earned a PhD in materials engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in New York, publishing 17 research papers in just 3 years, distinguishing himself among his peers. In 2015, after completing his postdoctoral research at the University of Chicago, he was appointed an assistant professor at Clarkson University in New York. By 2019, he secured a faculty position at one of the United States' top universities, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he became an associate professor in the Department of Applied Physics and established his own research lab. This rigorous and demanding academic journey helped Zijie Yan escape the poverty of his past and allowed his wife and children to join him in the United States. In January 2023, at just under 40 years old, Zijie Yan was granted tenure as a professor, a remarkable achievement for his age. He became an inspiration for future generations at his alma mater, Huazhong University of Science and Technology. Whether it was his mentors at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and the University of Chicago, or his colleagues at the University of North Carolina, all held him in high regard. Beyond his academic accomplishments, his relationships were equally commendable. He had a bright, positive personality, combined intelligence with emotional intelligence, and was always willing to help students and young scientists, something he took great pride in. Known for his gentle voice and active listening, he never had conflicts with anyone. Hard-working yet possessing a unique sense of humor, he was a respected professor and research advisor. After his tragic death, there was an overwhelming sense of loss among those who knew him. During this time, Zijie Yan's marriage was on shaky ground, and he was embroiled in intense conflicts with his wife's family. Although he felt exhausted from the divorce proceedings and the custody battle, these personal struggles never dampened his passion for work. Regardless of the eventual outcome, they did not appear to jeopardize his ability to live a peaceful and happy life in the U.S. Tragically, his path crossed with Tailei Qi in an unintended and devastating way. If Zijie Yan's life was a straight upward trajectory, Tailei Qi's life resembled a curve marked by many ups and downs. Although they shared similar beginnings, their journeys ultimately diverged completely. Tailei Qi was born in 1989 in a rural family in Fengqiu County, Xinjiang City, Henan Province. Like Zijie Yan, he grew up in the countryside. Qi's family lived in extreme poverty, officially classified as one of the poorest households in their village. His mother was a homemaker, while his father, in poor health, earned a modest income from odd jobs. The family's main livelihood came from farming 6 mu, approximately 1 acre, of land. From an early age, Tailei Qi and his younger brother grew accustomed to hardship, thin clothing in winter and simple meals of steamed buns and pickled vegetables. But these conditions never deterred his commitment to education. Tailei Qi scored 603 out of 750 points on the National College Entrance Exam, but was dissatisfied and decided to retake it. To save money for his family, he enrolled in a free school for students retaking the exam. The following year, both he and his younger brother took the college entrance exam again and scored 624 out of 750 points. Tailei Qi was admitted to the School of Physics and Technology at Wuhan University, while his brother was accepted into the Energy, Power, and Automation program at Xi'an Jiaotong University. Their impressive academic achievements and story captured media attention. In 2010, a Henan Daily article featured the two brothers' success in scoring 624 points. The article included a photo of them wearing glasses, sitting in their simple shared room with two beds, two small desks, and a basic electric fan. Yet their beaming smiles as they held their college acceptance letters were truly inspiring. Following the publication, local authorities, businesses, and philanthropists offered financial support to the Qi family, covering tuition and living expenses for their first year of college. Thus, the two brothers embarked on their educational journey, Tailei Qi to Wuhan, the city where Zijie Yan had also pursued his dreams. Many hoped that the rags-to-riches story of the Qi family would continue to unfold. However, after completing his freshman year, Tailei Qi deferred his studies and returned home. According to a relative of the Qi family, he reportedly experienced mental health issues, and his parents took him to the hospital to obtain medication. After applying for a graduation extension, he stayed home for an extended period of treatment. A year later, Tailei Qi returned to school and resumed his studies, ultimately taking 5 years to complete his undergraduate degree. On campus, Tailei Qi was particularly quiet and indifferent to his appearance. He wore the same outfit every day, kept his hair long, and paid little attention to personal hygiene. His disheveled appearance further emphasized his isolation. In 2015, after graduating from Wuhan University, Tailei Qi did not pursue a master's degree, but instead took a position at a private research institute in Suzhou, specializing in new materials. After a year and a half, he left the job to join a research team in the physics department at the Southern University of Science and Technology as a research assistant. His decision puzzled others. If he wanted to make academic breakthroughs, many viewed the nearly 2 years he spent at the institute as wasted time. However, during his 2 years at SUSTech, Tailei Qi performed reasonably well, publishing one paper as the first author and 2 others as a co-author, demonstrating some measurable research achievements. During this time, though, Tailei Qi began exhibiting unusual behavior. According to other team members, he appeared rigid and overly suspicious during group meetings or lab work. He refused to listen to advice, often choosing to take the long and unnecessary route on his own. Combined with his reclusive personality, others found it difficult to communicate with him effectively. Meanwhile, his family was enduring significant challenges. His grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer, and his father was diagnosed with lymphoma. Although both Tailei Qi and his brother had secured jobs in major cities, they were unable to alleviate the financial burden on their family during this period. The already impoverished family struggled further under mounting medical expenses. By 2019, across the Pacific Ocean, Louisiana State University offered Tailei Qi admission to the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Studying abroad had always been a goal for him. At this time, his father had just undergone surgery and was on daily medication, but the family took great pride in Tailei Qi's achievement and worked hard to pool resources to send him overseas. Carrying the weight of these financial pressures and concerns about his family, Tailei Qi embarked on his journey to the United States to pursue a PhD. Similar to his university years in China, Tailei Qi maintained an eccentric image within the international student community. He remained reserved and often clashed with classmates, senior peers, and even his advisor due to his poor English communication skills. He left the student WeChat group, deleted all his classmates from his contact list, and essentially became an isolated figure outside the circle of international students at the school. In academia, his isolation and rigidity inevitably had negative consequences. His Korean advisor at LSU recommended the termination of Tailei Qi's teaching assistant position because he failed to complete his assignments. On one occasion, the professor asked him to conduct research requiring the use of new equipment, which only a senior student in the group from Shandong knew how to operate. The senior student proactively offered to teach Tailei Qi how to use the equipment, but Qi angrily declined the help. He then spent 2 to 3 months trying to figure it out on his own, but failed to master the equipment. Lacking communication, refusing advice, and not collaborating with his team, Tailei Qi failed to publish any papers during his 2 years at the university. In the fall of 2020, his hard-working mother suddenly fell ill. Due to financial constraints, her treatment was delayed and her condition worsened, ultimately leading to her death from multiple organ failure. At the time, the COVID-19 pandemic was raging. Airfare to return home had soared to 100,000 RMB, approximately 14,000 USD, and travel procedures were complicated. As a result, he was unable to attend his mother's funeral. It is unclear how his mother's death affected him, but his poor academic performance led to the termination of his PhD candidacy. Instead, he was awarded a master's degree in materials science in 2021. By then, he was 32 years old, while many of his peers had already achieved significant milestones in their careers or personal lives. However, Tailei Qi appeared to reject social integration and showed no interest in finding a life partner. For him, the only path forward seemed to be achieving the highest academic success and using it to attain his ideal life. One day, he abruptly announced to his lab colleagues, "The academic level here is too low. I want to go to a better place to do research." That better place was the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he had been accepted into the PhD program in applied physics in 2021, starting his studies in 2022. Before leaving, he intentionally displayed an air of arrogance toward his peers. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, a renowned public research university often referred to as a public Ivy, has produced numerous Nobel and Pulitzer Prize winners and is highly regarded for its academic research. Restarting his PhD at such a prestigious institution was undoubtedly a promising opportunity for Tailei Qi. In 2022, as a first-year PhD student, he met Zijie Yan, who also came from a humble background. As an associate professor in the Department of Applied Physics, Zijie Yan welcomed Tailei Qi into his research group, which focused on nano-optical synthesis and detection. Under Zijie Yan's guidance, Tailei Qi achieved notable academic progress. Despite publishing no papers at his previous university, he managed to publish a paper as the first author within 6 months. In the paper's author contributions section, it was noted that Zijie Yan personally conducted and supported computational simulations for the research and provided significant assistance with the writing, while Tailei Qi was responsible for experiments and data analysis with other group members. Essentially, the position of first author was gifted by the professor, reflecting Zijie Yan's support for him. However, this act of mentorship appeared to bruise Tailei Qi's ego. In July 2022, during a critical stage of finalizing a manuscript for submission to a leading journal, he posted the following tweet: "Just feel my privacy was insulted. When I work, I will think I was showing the boss I am working instead of interests, devaluing the meaning of my work. That's so disgusting. Self-respect blocks me from working. Then it takes pains to convince myself what I do is just because I like." This post revealed that Tailei Qi felt as though he was working solely to please his supervisor rather than pursuing his own interests. He described the situation as degrading and claimed that his self-respect hindered his ability to work. Additionally, he liked posts on Twitter such as, "My perspective is correct, but the professor is wrong," and "How to choose a kind and harmless advisor." These suggest that Zijie Yan's enthusiastic mentorship and encouragement of Tailei Qi's research may have been perceived by the student as intrusive rather than supportive. Furthermore, Tailei Qi began posting comments questioning Zijie Yan's leadership abilities, stating, "A leader should never be a good man, as he is to make the company running. If he wants to be good, that will lead to dispute over trifles with lower efficiency and reduced incentives. This disputing process will destroy more than what expect to get in winning the debate." Combined with his complaints about low pay and poor benefits in academia, as well as his fatigue from working without genuine interest, it became evident that he partly blamed his advisor. He believed that Zijie Yan's attempts to always be a good person had contributed to these problems. In subsequent posts, his perspective became even clearer. In August, Tailei Qi mentioned the word bullying on Twitter, expressing that his interpersonal relationships were problematic. He claimed to have shared these issues with Zijie Yan, hoping his advisor could resolve them so he could focus on his academic research. However, he insisted that he would not change anything about himself unless absolutely necessary. During this period, his mental state was deteriorating, exacerbated by tragic news from home. His father in China had passed away from recurring cancer. Once again, Tailei Qi could not return home, leaving all funeral arrangements to his younger brother. On October 3, 2022, Tailei Qi successfully published his first academic paper. In November, he wrote on Twitter, "Both the group of people to say I am lazy and that to prove me working hard instead of telling me that are trying to consume my privacy. I judge their motivation is only to tell my I then control me by tale-telling. But it's weird when I talked about it with my PI. He said no, people spoke to him about that. So it's nothing but some voyeurism for these people." Tailei Qi claimed he was being watched and gossiped about behind his back, which led to a growing sense of resistance toward those around him. His interpretation of relationships seemed increasingly out of touch with social norms. For example, in a Twitter post in June 2023, he described a female student as an angelic bitch and wrote, "When this kind of girl shows her best to beg others to help me, all people then look down on me. Kind of angelic booch." His reactions to events around him, whether positive or negative, often led to feelings of persecution. He perceived advice, assistance, or discussions about him as invasive, because no one received positive feedback when expressing concern or trying to engage with him, and normal communication with Tailei Qi was nearly impossible. He remained friendless, despite frequently expressing a desire to make new friends online. In this context, on July 30, 2023, Tailei Qi published his second paper as the lead author in another top-tier journal. However, from the research direction and computational simulations to the manuscript preparation, his work was heavily supported by Zijie Yan. Looking at his academic achievements within a mere year and a half, it's clear that Zijie Yan had significantly contributed to his progress. Perhaps the professor hoped to help Tailei Qi find clarity about his future. With an excellent advisor and a high-quality research environment, Tailei Qi achieved some academic milestones despite his turbulent educational journey. Yet during this year and a half, his inner world was filled with anguish and confusion. Tailei Qi once accessed a female student's account and downloaded emails onto an external device. This act appeared to be a retaliatory response to the student's perceived insult toward him. It also demonstrated that Tailei Qi's dissatisfaction had gradually shifted from internal complaints to concrete actions of defiance, with these actions escalating over time. From the second semester of 2022, Tailei Qi felt he was being bullied, his privacy invaded, and his worth disregarded. He sought help from Zijie Yan, but Yan seemed indifferent, which fueled Qi's resentment. But why would Zijie Yan, someone who wanted only to work and help his students, become a target for elimination? While the case has not reached a final conclusion, from Zijie Yan's perspective, one reason appears to stand out. In July 2023, Zijie Yan sent an email to his own PhD advisor stating, "One of your graduate students has mental health issues. This student exhibits severe paranoia. I hope this student can graduate early to maintain stability." Yan also reported the student's condition to the department. All evidence suggests that the student in question was Tailei Qi. Zijie Yan had previously assured Tailei Qi that no one was gossiping about him, no bullying or privacy violations were happening. It wasn't that Yan failed to act, rather he understood that these issues stemmed from Qi's heightened sensitivity and paranoia. As Qi's advisor, Yan recognized the severity of the situation. His report to the university reflected his observation that Qi's condition was worsening and that he was powerless to intervene further. It is unclear if the university ever called Qi in to address these concerns. However, what is evident is that a highly sensitive Qi likely perceived a change in Yan's attitude toward him, leading him to view his advisor as one of his oppressors. The person Qi once trusted became a source of profound disappointment. Coming from a rural family dependent on poverty assistance, experiencing setbacks such as repeating years of study and deferrals, and losing both parents to illness, Qi had endured countless hardships to seize the opportunity to study abroad. In the United States, a country with a high cost of living, he had spent 5 years studying and working, still struggling at the age of 34 to grasp what he saw as his last chance. He could not accept failure, nor could he accept being perceived as abnormal. In his mind, every failure had to be someone else's fault. Meanwhile, Zijie Yan's success reflected all the flaws Qi could not tolerate in himself. All of Qi's pressures and inner turmoil found an outlet in Zijie Yan. Feeling his future was lost, he sought revenge. For Zijie Yan, however, this was an unwarranted tragedy. On August 1st, 2023, Tailei Qi made his final Twitter post asking, "What is truth?" After gunshots rang out on campus, Zijie Yan's life came to a tragic end far from his homeland. Following his arrest, Tailei Qi was detained in the Orange County Jail. On August 29th, 2023, Tailei Qi made a brief appearance at the Orange County Superior Court. He was charged with first-degree murder and unlawfully carrying a firearm onto campus. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. Upon hearing this, Tailei Qi simply nodded. The district attorney stated that they would not seek the death penalty, but instead hoped the judge would sentence Tailei Qi to life imprisonment without parole. The judge ordered Tailei Qi to remain in custody pending the next court hearing. Prosecutors and Tailei Qi's attorneys conducted 2 separate mental health evaluations. Both independent assessments suggested that Tailei Qi might be suffering from schizophrenia, potentially untreated. The court referred to this as untreated schizophrenia. During a September 2023 hearing, Tailei Qi insisted he was mentally sound. His attorneys also argued that he was unfit to stand trial, aiming to mitigate his sentence as much as possible. However, Tailei Qi challenged the findings of the mental health evaluations, demanding the reports be made public and refusing to undergo further psychiatric assessments. He also expressed distrust in his attorneys, requesting their replacement. He told the judge that his attorneys had labeled him mentally ill because he expressed dissatisfaction with them. Despite his lawyers advising against such statements and warning of serious consequences, Tailei Qi ignored their counsel and continued to complain. It seemed that being deemed mentally ill was, for him, an even worse fate than life imprisonment. The judge denied his request to change attorneys and concluded the hearing. On November 27, 2023, during another hearing, the Orange County Superior Court judge stated that Tailei Qi had been exhibiting hallucinations, delusions, and erratic behavior in jail. His disorganized thoughts impaired his ability to communicate effectively. These severe mental health issues rendered him incapable of understanding his legal circumstances. The court ultimately decided that Tailei Qi would be transferred to a regional psychiatric hospital for treatment. The questions remain. Can psychiatric treatment improve Tailei Qi's condition? And will he eventually be fit to stand trial? At present, it is difficult to draw any conclusions. If he is deemed mentally competent, the standard legal process will proceed. However, if it is determined that his mental health issues caused a distorted understanding of the nature and consequences of his actions, he may be exempt from criminal liability, despite having committed the crime. For now, he remains in the diagnostic and treatment phase, and no further information has been released. To date, police have not recovered the weapon used in the crime, and Tailei Qi has refused to disclose the true motive behind his actions. On August 29, 2024, 1 year after the incident, faculty and students at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill gathered at the bell tower to honor Professor Zijie Yan, who lost his life in the tragedy. Many young professors and scholars from UNC also contributed donations to provide financial support for Professor Yan's parents and children. Tailei Qi's mental health issues had shown signs as early as his university years, though it remains unclear what condition he was formally diagnosed with. After moving to a foreign country, these issues received little to no proper attention. His personality flaws, combined with the pressures of academic life, eroded his mental stability. Years of isolation became an unbridled force, ultimately fueling a tragedy that led him down a destructive path. The same road to academic success can take different turns depending on the driving forces behind it. Knowledge carried him from rural poverty to the pinnacle of the world's academic elite, yet it could not erase the burdens deeply rooted in his early life. The futures of two young men from humble beginnings came to a halt after 7 gunshots, leaving behind endless pain for Professor Yan's family and widespread anger and regret with no resolution. In an era where rising from poverty is celebrated, this story leaves us with a sobering conclusion that provokes deep reflection. That concludes today's case. If you found it interesting, please don't forget to like and support my channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.